I don't care who it is. If it's
Yeah.
science, if it's flat earthers and that's their God, if it's a T-Rex, just get closer with your God because I believe it brings one so much comfort. If at the end of the day none of this is real, the blanket that it creates for you and feeling like you always have someone that is close enough that can hear your deepest darkest secrets or be there for you or even give gratitude. That all in itself is like such a huge portion of like I have a prayer every day with my God and I'm just like, "Hey, thank you that I get 5 more seconds with my fiance."
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I'll finish with is I give myself and my existence to you to help me protect, save, and love every single human I can. Just help me make the right choices. And I think that that's so healthy. And I don't expect anyone to believe the way I do. I just would love for everyone to find their pillars or their beliefs and really learn to love them for who they are and what they are.
Robin Hood and Little John are walking through the forest, laughing back and forth at what the other has to say.
Hey, welcome to the RuckList podcast. We've got somebody I don't know real well. I found him on Instagram. Love his content. Love what he's about. Good energy. And so I sent him a message this week. Asked him if he wanted to come on. He said yes. So this beautiful man you see here with this wonderful Burt Reynolds mustache is Levi. How do you say it? Levi Dunsey?
Yeah, Levi Dunsey, spot on.
Nice. And so if you haven't checked out his content, it's an absolute joy to watch. He's right up my alley right now. I am just in the middle of just full on fishing addiction. I haven't been there for 20 years, but it's just that time of year where the dries are starting to come off. You throw that on and you're like, okay, I'll be back tomorrow, and again after that. So Levi, thanks for joining us on the RuckList podcast. You got me, Brian Trainer, and my brother, Tyrel Bubba
Tyrel.
Trainer.
Yep.
I'm gonna brand that. I'm working on making that stick.
Bubba.
That's what we called him.
First
He was
words.
a little boy, was Bubba. That was his first word just for bottle. He was a fat little thing. So
Thanks for joining us, Levi.
yeah.
Of course,
Good time, man. It's Good Friday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Day out here.
And it's your birthday, Tyrel.
It is.
Happy birthday to you,
Thank
bud.
you. Thank you. 35 today.
Nice.
Sweet. Happy birthday.
Thanks, man.
How old are you, bud?
Me?
Yeah.
30. I just turned 30 March 11th, but don't let this young body fool you. I'm 85 internally.
Love it.
You've
Yeah.
beat it up. Have you
Happy birthday to you, by the way.
yeah, that was you. I was March 14th, so we all kind of are turning over right here about the same time.
Sweet. That's where the softies come into play. We're all Pisces, huh?
Exactly. You find me in water and I'm a happy kid, man.
Same.
Tell us about you really quickly. I've got some questions that are going to get me to know what I want to know about you, because I want to know what's in your fly box and some of those things, because that'll tell me a lot about what kind of man you are.
Yeah.
But give us a quick and dirty, man. Where are you at in life? And is fishing your career, or what are we doing, bud?
Yeah. So I'll give you a quick rundown of things. So I've been fishing since I was a little boy. I grew up in a really toxic household and fishing was my escape. So I would go buy some night crawlers from like the quarters I found in the couch. And I would usually we had plans to go, me and my dad, but he would always bail. So I would just go to the river on my own. And I met this old man that just kind of was like, he took the father role for a long period of time and he kind of just taught me things. And so fishing, I've been everything from a firefighter to a real estate agent, but nothing clicked like fishing did and the fishing community. I just fell in love with it and it was basically in my blood.
Yeah.
And so, and the fishing has taught me a lot of things. Like why it's so important is because for me, I learned a lot about patience with my fiance. I've learned how to be a better man and honest and how gatekeeping is actually a big issue within the world, not just the fly fishing world. I'll talk more about that later. But it's just made me be a good man.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, you gave me a lot of stuff that we're going to come back to some stuff there.
So yeah. Said you're 30. When were those chapters of life, like firefighting and stuff like that?
Oh yeah. So
like
yeah. Those chapters of life. So I was a firefighter first. It was probably right out of high school. So 2015 to 2016. And then real estate agent from 2018. Technically, I'm still a certified agent, but I'd rather sell people on fish than houses.
Yeah.
That's a bar. I love that.
Yeah.
That's what I've because I've sold real estate for 20 years, 22 years almost now.
Yeah.
Um, and, I completely get you there, but you can do both, right? Like, if you ever chose to, but so now let's get into that. Have you turned fishing into a career?
Yes. Yep. So this will be my 5th full-time year as a guide.
Great.
I have
What's
some really big
your home,
plans.
like, river?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Mm-mm. What's your home river, brother?
Yeah, so our home river is the Provo River.
'Kay.
It's so funny, we have people from all over the world come and they're like, "I've read so much about this river," and since it's a home river, we're just like, "Oh, okay, what did you hear?" But it's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
blue ribbon fishery, world class. We have about 2,200 fish per square mile. And what makes it so special is it's separated into sections. So you've got the upper section, which is a freestone. So you get really great hatches there. You have the middle section, which is more pressured. The fish are smaller, but it's more technical. And then you
Mm,
have the lower section, which would be bigger fish, less fish, but it's kind of like you go middle, lower, and then upper for as far as like levels in fly fishing. So it's a great intro to learning everything about it.
yeah, that's wonderful, and it's kind of like a lot of those. Is it a tailwater?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of those tailwaters go that way, right? Like, I was fishing Thermopolis a couple weeks ago, and, it's like there or the Bighorn or really any tailwater, the Missouri, any of them, they go, fish are stacked here. It gets technical and dry fly, but a little tough to catch, and then you're gonna catch 1 fish or 2, but it might be the biggest fish you've ever caught in your life if you're gonna go down
Absolutely.
well, right? And they kind
Yeah.
of all tend to have sort of a similar kind of genetic makeup, if you will, as long as they've got good fish in them. But it
Yeah.
kind of tends to go from that to a little bit of a canyon, then to like farmland, right? It kind of always seems to work that way. So I've never fished the Provo River. It's on the list now. Um, so I'll be coming out and visiting you. And uh, I go next week. I go with a guy named Rooster that guides on the Madison and the Henry's Fork. Um,
Sweet.
he's always kind of been on my list as like, you see guys they have like a strong following on Instagram and he's just a freaking character. And I just want to be in a boat with him. I want to learn from this crazy man. So,
Yeah.
uh,
That's exciting. Yeah.
yeah, so it'll be fun. I get 2 days with him next week, and then I get 2 days kind of front and back, kind of a Monday travel slash this the most beautiful thing in the world is my buddy with certainty will pull up at the airport with a truck and a drift boat already connected,
Yeah.
and and you just feel like such a legend walking out of the airport, and, whether it's in Bozeman or, Jackson Hole or wherever, and you're just like, I don't know, it just I feel
Backpack
nobody's got me
straight
Yeah.
to
beat.
the
I don't
truck.
care what you get in. You got a
Yeah.
guy that has your name and he's got and it's a limo, I'll take me, truck, drift boat, he's already got a burrito or a sandwich sitting on the console, and it's just straight to it. It's like that fishing buddy you've known forever. You don't have to catch up. You're just like, "Where are we going?" "What did you see coming off the river this morning?" Because 'Cause he'll already have all the intel dialed in, right? So we're ready to go.
Right.
But, very cool, man. So guiding full time on the Provo. Uh, do you guys kind of expand to any of the rivers for that, permit wise? I mean, or is that just kind of not just, but is that where you're like kind of at every day and you're dialed in?
Yeah, so we actually are private contractors, so we work with several different guide services,
Okay.
and how it works is some of the guide services will have permits for different areas. I won't mention the names. I don't believe in gatekeeping, but what I do believe in is, like, I definitely want people to come out and explore it and then ask questions at fly shops or with guides,
Right.
and out of respect for the other guides that have, like, learned that niche.
Yeah.
But we have some trophy trout waters here. I can think of 3 at least that hold 20-inch plus browns, and that's every fish you catch. And so, really, it just depends on what guide service you're working for and if they have the permits for that area. Something I love to do is get really creative because guides, it's so interesting to me. There are a lot of guides that are afraid of uncomfortability, but
Mm, yeah.
I mean, if fishing's really high and scary, I'll take people to go fish for smallies with chubbies on one of the still waters close by. I just
Yeah.
like to get creative with it.
Yeah. And your water forces that. So I'm part owner of a house it's an outfitter works out of it. And they just closed half the river there. You can't float it anymore, right? It's walkway only. So now
Mhm.
his fishable river for that section he's got a permit on is cut in half, right? So we had a really fun conversation about maybe we get like a panga, and go out on the lakes and kind of dial in on carp, right? And
Yeah.
now I can practice throwing a fly to a carp, which is going to feel a little bit like the salt, right? And so you just get creative on how do you provide because it's not always the same of like, "Hey, I just need to go out and I want to catch a trout on a fly." It's about that adventure of, hey, he pulls up in this different looking boat. It's got a pushing pole or whatever you call it, and, we're gonna go try some carp on for the day, right? And I think for me, I look at that and I go, "Just give me this sense of adventure. That's all I want," right? I want something different,
Yes.
something that's challenging, and, maybe I can learn a little bit about how to throw a rod different today, better.
Yeah, to piggyback on what you're saying real quick, I think that's so important. I, as I've built my following, I've been a little more careful just learning the systems, but I'm starting to piss a lot of people off because I also believe there's a standard for guides as well to create that creativity, that adventure, like you say. And I mean,
Yeah,
Kelly Gallup just recently had a video that went pretty viral and I loved it because he was like, listen, he's like, and you know Kelly Gallup's language, but he's like, I don't give an F if you're the
yeah,
fishiest guide on the river. I care if you have a clean car, if you put love into your lunches, and if you give them a good experience, which I truly believe fish are like the woman at the bar. They smell the desperation a mile away. And it's the difference in a good experience and a bad one. And if your guide sucks, don't tip him. He's in the service. We're in the service industry and we're
yeah,
also students before we are teachers.
yeah. Dude, it's so funny you say that because I'm gonna circle back to that because I shared that same snippet of him. I think what do you say, like, "Don't be an effing bum," you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I sent it to a couple of my outfitter buddies because I believe so true that is so true. Like, I have a buddy that he fired one of his guides, and I'm just doing my best not to say names because I don't want hurt feelings, but I was like, "This person is, they're just not good, man." Like, we do a lot of company trips where I'll send my guys up there, and I know they're gonna be in a boat with somebody. I'm like, "I can't have that person with my people. I can't. That's not the experience I want. I don't want them ripping, burning a cig the whole time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Taking a little sip off of the whiskey bottle, like, do what you do in your own time, but, like, none of us can go to work and behave in that way, right? Like, this is a profession, and if you do it right, I mean, I've got a guy I go with 2 trips every year. He and it's just he's so damn clean. Like, he is freaking dialed. His truck is dialed. You get in his truck, and he's got a little microfiber towel for each person next to their seat and a bottle of water.
I
Right?
love
There's
that.
not
Yeah.
anything else in the truck. He's a former Marine. Nate is just my dude, and we tip him fat, it's just like because he's just so good,
Shout
right?
out Nick.
Shout out to Nate. He'll be on the
Yeah.
podcast. I'm trying to get him on. He's a savage human. And he's just damn good. But so dude, gosh, I've got like I need 2 notepads. I need like 3 more pages of notes here, but back to, like, the fish feel that energy. I had this experience. I got taught my lesson this week. So uh, I had a 9-day streak of catching a fish on a dry fly, right? So I went 9 days in a row, and my wife was like, finally, she was on board. I was like, "Babe, I gotta go." I've been going. I wasn't counting, I was just out. I was like, I just gotta go. They're biting a little bit on the dries. Well, I texted 2 buddies. I say, "I've got a 9-day streak. I'm gonna go 10. I'm gonna go catch something, just anything on any dry, doesn't matter." The second I did that, I got skunked that night. Like, I could
Yep.
not like, I had fish come up and just follow and watch and just kinda look at me like, "You shouldn't have counted." You know what I mean? "You started counting, we know you're counting, and we're gonna show you that we're here. We're even gonna jump and just drown a fly just to mess with you, but we aren't gonna eat shit." You know what I mean? We're not eating a damn thing today. And I
Yeah.
had to do the drive of shame down the canyon, and I'm just like I get to service and I'm like, "I got skunked." And one buddy's like, "You started counting, bro." And I was like, "I know. Absolutely." And that's one of my kind of big no-nos of people will just say that I wouldn't want in my boat is a guy that has a fish counter hanging off his vest. And I am like, "You are not here for the right reasons." But as a guide, how do you handle that, right? If you get the fish counter guy that jumps in the boat and you go, are you gonna play his game, right? Or are you gonna
Right.
go, I'm gonna teach this guy something and I'm gonna show him maybe something about fly fishing he's never experienced, it's just the joy of the moment, right?
Right.
How do you handle that without pissing off your customer base if they watch this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess I'm assuming you don't have a counter. I know a couple guys that do, and I can't stand it. They have a clicker and they're just, you know what I mean? They'll just throw, 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 and it's like they don't even take time to enjoy the fish. They'll pull it off the hook, toss it back in, and like get back in the water, you know?
Yeah, so it's interesting you say that. That's actually the first time I'm hearing of a fish counter. Personally, if I ever booked a guide and he had a fish counter, I would call the trick. I've just learned that there's certain people so as a guide, what you are is a chameleon. You match the energy involved.
Mhm.
And what I do is some guide services don't allow this because they're afraid you're going to steal their clients, but I'm always very pushy to be like, "Hey, let me communicate with the clients the night before. I would love to hear what they're looking for, what they want, to love to see if it's a good fit. And if it's not, I'll be like, "Oh, you should go with such and such." I'm not afraid to lose the money because what
Yeah.
I'm a true believer is that like when guides think that way, what happens is we prosper even more because the amount of terrible guide stories I've heard more terrible guide stories than I have used car salesmen, and that makes me sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
And so really it's this like law of abundance where I'm like, "Oh, if this will be the best fit for you, you should do this." But the fish counter thing for me, if you ever catch me with that, I want you to turn me into a scud and feed me to the fish. Truly.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
This is like, okay, so background, I guess I don't fish at all. I've been, I don't know, a handful of times, have a blast. Just, I don't know, it's just not a hobby that I pursue.
You'll get there. We'll get you there.
So this is a fun conversation. So like, I was wondering, fish counter is kind of funny to me.
They
Just the
have them. They look
concept
like
of it,
little
but
fish. They have them little fish, and they just you roll the thing,
it's like a balls and strike,
and then
like you're an
yeah, it
umpire.
gets to you get to 9, and then it rolls to 1, and then you have the next one. You can go to 11, 12,
Yeah.
13.
And
It's dumb.
but just to kind of like, what are those you talked about guides not wanting to be like uncomfortable? Can you kind of describe that to me, like who's not been on very many guide trips?
Yeah. So for me, like give you examples or kind of just communicate, like relay more about that
I
as a
guess
whole.
for me, like, yeah, just like examples, like how you're kind of going through that. But then as someone who would be like a first time going on a guide, like what's some couple things that I should not do to be that
Oh, like
to create
etiquette, like
uncomfortable
hunting
situations that
etiquette or
make it,
golf etiquette type
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Now,
Uh,
I'm guessing, but new guys are probably some of your favorite, right?
Oh, hands down my favorite. That's one thing I was gonna say is it's gonna sound funny, but this should 100% be on the guides. Never should a client make a guide feel uncomfortable because again, you are the chameleon. So I get all the time. I'll give you one story of an example. I had this lady, it was a man and a husband, and every time she would do a cast, she would do it a little incorrectly and she would start to hit herself. And
Mm,
that broke my heart, and I would look at the husband and be like, "Hey, like, should we do something? Like, I don't want her to do this." And he was just kind of like, "Oh, this is normal for her." And so I would, like, show her a little more attention. It's so funny
mhm.
because the wives are always the one that catch fish, and so he was a little more frustrated.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
at that moment, I remember I could have either felt uncomfortable or I could have addressed the situation in the perspective that she needs. And so I remember I was like, "I'm gonna stand right next to you. I'll take the rod with you and I'll help you with it. And when you're ready, let's do it. And if you do it wrong, I'll help you again." So we spent 3 of the 4 hours with her, which I was so happy with because she was just womping fish, and the husband that really didn't care about it, he just looked like an idiot, which he fished his
Yeah.
whole life. Not that I ever want anyone to feel like an idiot, but I do believe that when you care for each other, again, it's another thing where you catch more fish. And so shout out to both of them. They were super nice. But in that situation, we are still the teachers. And so you have to learn to make them feel comfortable in the ways that they need. If you're going to be in the hospitality business, you have to learn to mirror and match and communicate correctly.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. So I think that that's really important.
Yeah, man, I think that it's it's funny how many times you see women, just way outfish their husbands, and they take them on a husband-wife trip, and it's that energy thing, we talked about it a couple weeks ago with another podcast with
Yep.
a buddy Baron in here. I'm not trying to get too hippy dippy, man, but, like, you really do put energy into that water. I've done it positively, and I've done it negatively in my life, and those fish can feel you. They just
Yeah.
can't, especially if you're standing in that water with them. Um, I don't know.
That podcast was really fun for me to um, just hear you guys kind of break down energy in the water.
Mhm.
Just a little bit more like flowing with the river compared to kind of the same concepts you're trying to get in the woods, like hunting.
Yeah.
But it was a fun, and then to hear you come on and immediately, it's
That's
like
the first thing.
flowing with that water and throwing
Yeah,
that energy in there.
it
Ye-
matters, man.
That's cool to
Yeah.
hear right off the rip already.
I always talk to people. So hunting big trout I feel like it's so similar to hunting elk. I used to be a big time hunter, big coyote hunter specifically. I
Yeah.
like my animals alive these days just because I have a soft heart and I always
Yeah.
Yep.
I would stay up at night and basically bawl my eyes out for every animal I've killed. But
100% agree.
it is so similar as far as that meditative kind of primal state. And I think that there's something so beautiful with that, that it really is like both men and women, they get to feel both sides of it. So the women get to feel the gatherer, that primal gatherer, and the man gets to feel that like primal provider slash hunter. And I think it kind of just brings us back to like our bear roots, and they're so
Yeah.
similar.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a unique relationship too with that river. Like I think we all do. Like we feel it. And that's why we want to go experience that is like this the culture that's cooked into us from, culture that goes beyond cultures, right? Like it's all the way back to the beginning of us gathering.
Yeah, I mean, it always starts at water
Yeah.
somewhere, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then that's cool that they bring that kind of gathering, hunting and gathering into one flowing. Okay, real quick, new guys. How would you set me up? Like rods, flies, where do we kind of start? Um, Gonna come out with you first time.
Yes. Yes. So the ideal way for me would be I would give you a call the night before. And
Yep.
I'd be like, "Okay, what is your level of fly fishing?" And you would tell me, and I do like a scale from 1 to 10 because a lot of fishermen will say like, "Oh, I've fished. I fish a lot." And
Yep.
it's like, "Oh, I've caught a lot of bluegill in a pond." So they're very different. So I'm
Mhm.
usually like, "What is your level from 1 to 10 as far as fly fishing?" And if they tell me a lot of the time what it will be is a brand new guy and he'll say it's a 1 or a 0. I've never even thrown a fly rod. So that gives me perspective. Okay, I want to give him an easier rod to use. I want to go to a location that isn't so technical. And then we have to be including all these extra steps. I would almost make it like dummy proof. And that way they can get a good intro. And then I would give them the option like, okay, for halfway through the day, the last 2 hours, do you want to go try something a little more technical? Or if they're not ready for that, we'll continue doing what we're doing. What we do here on the Provo is really simple. It's called a bounce rig. Essentially, what it is it's an indicator, and then you've got like double the depth. So usually it's about 9 feet of leader, and then you've got weights at the bottom. It's very similar to a drop shot rig, and you'll have two tag ends with flies on them. But what happens there is it's really cool because the cast, you're not doing a lot of false casting. You're really focusing on the system of how trout operate, and then as far as understanding what a drift in a cast looks like. And so I've never had, and I don't think this is necessarily a Levi like bragging thing. I think it's how the system is set up and how perfect the Provo is for it. But I've never had someone not like be able to learn it throughout the 4 hours. Usually the
Oh,
first
dude.
hour they're able to have an understanding and if we're lucky and good energy, have a fish on the line.
Yeah.
And so really it's touching base with you. And then sometimes I would say it's like a 60%, 40%. Um, 60% of them are like, I just want to get away from crowds. And I'm like, okay, well, let's go to this section of the river. I know it will be more secluded. And a lot of the time they'll cast a few lines and then they sit at the bank with you and then they tell you some traumatic story that just happened and you're able to work through that too. And then they pick up the fly rod and it's just like fish on, fish on, fish on. So
Yeah.
it's really communicating with that person, and it should be your guide's job. Honestly, like, there is a level of accountability that needs to be held in the hospitality business, and I truly believe, like, anyone that's new, they should be able to hear from the guide and understand what's going on, what they should bring, how like, what the experience will look like, and if you don't hear from your guide, I do advise people, like, call your guide the night before or even in the morning. If he doesn't answer, that's, then you have a reason to be like, "Hey, I didn't know what to do. I wasn't prepared." But I will always touch base, find out what they need, and give it to the best of my ability. Yes, sometimes I'm wrong, but as I get better and better at it, the less times I am wrong, right?
Yeah, dude. Have I know you haven't probably listened to our podcast. We did the Troy Taylor, who's now a buddy of ours, but we saw his content on Instagram, reached out to him. He's in New Zealand,
Mhm.
but he will just walk out onto a river and ask permission. Okay, can I talk to you? And he'll ask the question like, "Has fly fishing ever helped you get through a really hard time?" So if you've ever seen any of his videos, they're super cool, man. Super heartfelt. And then it just gets the guys talking about, yeah, my dad passed away 3 weeks ago, and this has really helped me, you know what I mean, deal with it and just being on the river. And I just love that piece of anything outside, right? Whether it's fly fishing or hunting or it's backpacking or it's rock climbing. I think you could ask that same question to anybody that likes to get in the woods. And I just
100%.
love that that comes up when you're on the river because I love being in a boat for that same reason, right? Because I think men are so bad at like sitting face to face and talking. But if you put two guys in a boat or in a duck blind or just on the side of a mountain, then those real conversations happen and they need to be happening
Mhm.
just for men's mental health, right? And we've kind of touched on that a lot in the podcast over the last year here about just how much it helps. Barron has a thing called fly fishing saves lives, and it's so true, I believe, right? It gives so many men purpose, and I think it's hard. My wife, we just finished watching the show Madison, if you've watched that from Taylor Sheridan, it's the Yellowstone kind of thing, but, it was funny because she was the premise of the show is just, like, she never really asked him about his fly fishing, but he loved it, and she finds his journal, and she's reading through all of his things around, why he's out there, and she realized she was never part of his life in that way, right? And it was great for my wife to watch it and go, "Is this you?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course," right? Like, "Yes, this is me." And it made her curious about kind of why I love it so much, right? And, I loved it for just that reason. Of course, it was fun watching him. I did wanna step through the not that I'm the best caster in the world, but somebody should have just taken a little more time with him on, like, how to throw a dry fly, A little bit, but that not I'm not trying to pick on that. It is what it is. It was a great show. So,
Yeah.
um but yeah, if you haven't checked out Troy's content, you should, man. It's cool.
Yeah,
Uh,
so Troy was actually one of the inspirations for me.
Oh,
I
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, another one of my many jobs that I've pursued and quit with because of emotional reactionary kind of traits. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
I've worked with troubled youth my whole life as well. So I worked in both inpatient and outpatient programs, and then I also worked as a youth transporter. Kids call us goons. And so we were literally
Okay.
paid to go pick them up early in the morning, like 2 or 3 a.m. The parents would welcome us in and they would just basically introduce us and say, okay. And then they would hand it off to us and,
Mhm.
I never fought with a kid, never had a kid run. For me, I just learned how, like you were saying, in nature and in all these places, like, it creates this vulnerability, and so when I actually saw some of his reels on,
Yeah.
Instagram, I was just like, "This dude is like this is what I wanna be. This is who I wanna be," and I love it.
Yeah. His energy was really cool, man.
Yeah.
Like, and if you haven't reached out to him, you should because he's just a super kind and gentle human. Like,
Sweet.
he was an absolute, like, joy to talk to. Just you could feel it through, like and that's I'm getting hippy dippy again, but he's all the way in New Zealand, but it doesn't matter. Like, I think that energy can transfer easy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's easy radio connection there. So, yeah, dude. All right, some more questions so we can learn a little bit more about you.
Yeah,
Okay.
shoot.
What flies do you just absolutely hate? You know, I I have a couple. I was looking at my fly box. I had this like red copper john, and I despise it. It's still in there. I won't take it out. I should just. And I just got a new fly box, so I went through and I was like, I'll never throw that. I'll never. I just put them in a puck, and I'll probably give it to somebody and say, hey, here's all the here's all this trash. But what do you have any flies in your box you look at and you're like, I don't even know why that's in there. Like they've never really done you dirty, but you're just like, I hate this fly.
Yeah, first, if Lance Egan sees this, I apologize and I love you.
Yeah.
Um, I actually loathe the Rainbow Warrior.
Okay.
I know it is a
It's on
phenomenal bug.
everybody's list. Yeah, that's on like, it's so often on, a fishing report, Rainbow Warrior.
Yes, yes, oh, 100%, and funny enough, I loathe it for a different reason. So, I remember the story, and Lance, if I get this wrong, I apologize, but Lance was never going to actually drop the Rainbow Warrior. It was a fly that he tied one day in kind of like maybe a rush or something, and it sat on his desk. And Umpqua was like, "Hey, Lance, like we're ready for a fly. Do you have it for us?" And he's like, he was just so busy. He's like, "Yeah, I have this bug, but I don't love it." And it ended up being this like phenomenal bug for just every angler I've ever met everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I actually loathe that bug for a different reason. I loathe it because it's almost like an insecurity for myself. So often have I looked in my box and been like, "That's the bug," but it doesn't make any sense. Like a mop fly, like 90% of the time I'll look at a mop fly and I'll be like, "Man, I should use that," but I don't
I
want to. And
I
I
I
think
had a
it's
buddy give me, like, 9 little, like, like, half dozen boxes of mott flies. Again, Tim, if you're listening, I'm really sorry. I've never thrown it. I just can't tie it onto my line. I'm just like, "Dude." I don't know, something about it just, like, grosses me out. I'm like, "What in the frick is this even supposed to be?"
Yeah, yeah. And so, funny enough, my biggest tiger, it was 24, maybe around 23 to 25. I always like to give ranges because I think flexing big fish is actually overrated too.
Yeah.
But I will say I caught my biggest tiger trout, which is my favorite fish, on a mop fly. And that's the reason I loathe that rainbow warrior is because it reminds me of all the times I've been fishing and I've been like, I'm not going to use that bug. It doesn't make sense. But your
Mhm.
intuition kicks ass. Every angler has an intuition, and it could be the most kooky rooster style intuition. I don't even know him, but I understand this whole perspective of like
Yeah.
the best guides I've ever met are kooky. Like we have a guide on this
Yeah.
river, Jerry Romney. He'll literally rub his fly in the dirt and bend the hook and bend it like outwards, and he ends up smoking everyone on the river. And it's because he is not afraid to listen to that intuition and try those things that you think about, but most anglers decide to self-deprecate and then not do it. And
Yeah.
so that rainbow warrior is a reminder of old Levi, and that's why I loathe it so much.
Yeah. Is it a crutch? Is it because it's a crutch? Like, you just know it's, say, too easy? Or like, yeah, that's just your like, you default to something, you go, it always works, or it's just something you don't? Because I don't know why, like, for me, even a like, any most every copper john, I don't know why I don't like it. It's just there's just a lot of metal there. There's something about it, and I'm like, it just doesn't feel. Now, I'll throw a pegged egg, which is not even fly fishing anymore, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like, so it's not like I'm a purist or anything like that, I don't know why.
Yeah, I think it's very similar. I think it's just more of the reminder, or I would say that the Rainbow Warrior for me is a reminder of all of the rivers that I've been either skunked on or possibly missed a big fish that I was like trying to track. And I
Yeah.
know that if I would have switched to that fly, I would have believed in, like there would have been an even better possibility. Not that I would have caught it 100%, but
Yeah.
also I get what you're saying too. Like a Copper John, I probably have 1,000 of them in my pack.
Yeah.
And I've probably never used a Copper John once in my life. I don't know. I don't know.
It's another fly that's always on the list, but you look at it and you're like, "I just don't like you. I don't like you for some reason."
Yeah.
Well, okay, so what about the opposite? Like, is there, like, the fly you tie on and it's just like, "This is my dude." You know what I mean? Like, just, "This is my go-to." If I'm throwing a 3 fly or 2 fly rig, it's like, it's always one of the 2 or 3. Not always,
Yes.
but, like, I'm in a slump, I'm tying this on.
Yeah, I would say it's a size 24 midge with a black body and a purple head. Um,
Really?
oh, yeah, and it's so funny because there's a few of us guides that we kind of keep in contact with different bugs and share. If any guide asks me, I'll tell them, but it is the number one fly that catches, like, if there's a fish on the line, it's a big fish, and it's productive year round. So, really any small size 26, 24 midge with a black body, purple head, but it is so effective, and when there's not a hatch or when the fishing's tough, that bug always produces.
What kinda hook are you throwing on that? Because 'Cause you're catching big fish, do you know kind of like what style of hook that's tied on?
Yeah, so for me, that's funny that you asked. So for me, I actually will tie, midges on all different sorts of hooks. I do love, Fulling Mills Stealth Midge hook. That is by far my favorite. And
Yeah.
that's usually what I tie it on, and it's barbless. All I fish is barbless here. Every once in a while, maybe a barb will get through, but I try to always fish barbless. But it's the Foley Mill Tactical Midge, and it is just you can't even tell that it's a hook there, to be honest with you. It's
Yeah.
insane how
Yeah.
just clean it is, and if your eyes suck, good luck because the eyelid on it is microscopic.
Dude, that's and so you gotta be at least 5x or 6x with that then? I mean, it's hard to even get much past 5x through an eyelet on a hook that small, right? I mean, it's
Yeah, so funny enough, on the Provo, actually, the middle section, I get a lot of crap for this, but typically, I'm running anywhere between 6.5x to 8x.
oh god.
Yeah,
Is that small?
Smaller, 8
it
is I've
is.
never even owned a spool, and I will never own a spool
I
of
would
8.
say it's thinner than a strand of your hair as far as, like
Okay, it's or yeah, like your arm hair thin.
yeah,
So, okay, objection like, because for me it's like, oh, okay, well, you got to be pretty good so it doesn't break, but is your objection more of like it's a pain in the ass just in your life
I hate
to own
everything
it?
about
Yeah.
6X and below.
Okay.
Like I've been on the edge of going, if you gotta throw 6, I'll just drive another hour to a river that'll let me throw 5 or
Because in
4X.
my head I just picture like, you're a big dude, Sasquatch on the
Dude,
boat
squat
just with
well,
a tangle in your hands and,
I'm
you know,
super it tangles like crazy if you throw it funny, like, which is really like his bounce or a drop rig, like, that helps because you don't have all these crazy hinge points in your fly line, and so
Okay.
it helps to throw that, but it's yeah. I've
Yeah.
never even seen a spool of 8X, and I don't wanna see a spool. I'll pay you the whatever your day rate is to tie 8X on my line, but I mean, it is so small, and it loves to tangle, and it's just I get it. I mean, I've been on rivers where I have to, like, I have a row in my box of just those little size 24, 26 midges, and I'm like, "I hope we don't have to go there," you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even wanna go there. But it's a trip because, like, some of the biggest like, there's guys that will have that goal, right? Like, a size 24 fly, 24-inch fish is I remember hearing about that early on when I was young and fly fishing. It was like there was, like, this goal of, small, small fly, big, big fish, right? Which
Mhm.
it's a trip how well it works, like, how much those fish are eating just those little tiny, tiny midges.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I really don't wanna say what I really feel because I literally have said, "I'm not doing it." Like, I have some spools of 6X. I'm like, "Screw that. I'm leaving them in the tool cabinet. I'm not even gonna put 'em in my little Yeti loadout box because God, it's work." Which is
Yeah.
dude, that's what you do for a living, and so but you're right, and I'm unfortunately, I'm old now, like, I'm 46, and I'm already, like, holding my flies up to the light, if I'm tying on little flies, and I'm just like, "This is exceedingly difficult," you know? So, I'm dangerously close. Like, I'm past the point where I need to go get, like, my fly tying readers so I can put them on and see, um, what I'm tying on. So, it just makes 8X sound just, like, impossible.
Yeah. One thing I do that's another thing I really respect with the Middle Provo is it it will speed up the process of becoming a good fisherman
Mhm.
because you're running such small bugs and you're really thinking about the drift. And those fish have been so pressured that you really have to put in work. I love referencing to one time Tom Rosenbauer came out and he basically came out and said like I hate the Provo River. And for
Nice.
me, that was, like, such a cool moment to be like, "Okay, here comes, like, in my opinion, the legend of legends in the fly fishing world." I love how much he loves everything,
Yeah.
and have him just be like, "Whoa, that's an interesting fishery. That's tough in its own way. That's pressured, blah, blah,
Mm.
blah, blah, blah." And that was really cool. But, yeah, that working with that small stuff really does just, like it teaches you another level of patience and time, and also, like, you get one good drift in a certain spot, and that could be
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Some more advice from you, dude, and I wanna hear your thoughts. So, something that came up in a podcast I did on somebody else's, 2 days ago, um, in the hunting world, and I'm not I really they're not gonna listen, it doesn't matter, but, like, it's gotten cool to, like, buy an expensive knife, right, or something else like that, and I'm always really sensitive because when I got into fly fishing, I was a teacher, I had negative money, right? I was losing money every month if I didn't work, 20 hours every weekend to pay our bills. And so, I went on Craigslist back then. I bought an old Cabela's, two-piece five-way. The guy was like, "Hey, I'll throw this reel in for you." And then I was like scrapping together flies that I could get in like the discount fly boxes. I'd go to the shop and I'd buy out of there like that junk pile of shit. And that's what I was fishing with was like the leftover stuff nobody wanted.
Mm,
And so I'm really sensitive to those young men and women that are getting into fly fishing, especially whether it's hunting, it doesn't matter, but it is such an expensive sport if you make it that way, right?
mhm.
We got into a conversation 2 days ago about knives because kids are in there spending, they think they have to because they see an influencer spending 3 to 400 or more dollars on a
Yeah.
knife.
Yeah.
Mm,
And, James was like, "Hey, man, you can go to Target and get a poly-handled $6 knife and learn how to sharpen it, and it's a piece of metal that's sharp at the end of the day will do its job," you know?
mhm.
Is there something like that that you see in fly fishing for those young men and women getting into it that goes, so there's 2 pieces of this. The things that we don't need to be spending money on, don't do it until you can. If you can, fine, do it. And then also, where do you not waste money? Like, go, "Hey, save up, get a very good one of these. Please don't spend money on that until you can afford it."
Yeah. Ooh, I love that you brought this up actually. First, I'm gonna say this. I love pissing off old men that, can't learn new tricks. It will fuel me till the day I die. I'll never stop doing this.
Yeah.
I believe the thing you should spend the most money on is a gym membership. And it's and it's for so many reasons. One, being active. Two, keeping your mind healthy.
Yeah.
And three, like seriously, what you can afford and what you can get out with, even if you're trying to like tie some fly line to a bamboo stick. I
Yeah.
believe that that is a key to it all for fly fishing specifically. It's it's really listening to that intuition. So I would say, the gym membership I'm pretty serious about, but I would say it's really just getting something that is affordable for you, like a combo set that gets to be a staple of who you are and why you're doing it. So for me, I remember my first combo set, it had red backing and the
Yep.
reel was red and it would look like it was Chinese made and
Probably
but
was.
it was and it probably was. It was so important to me because I paid for it, and then I realized, like, fly fishing, we all go through these stages. We go through the stage where we wanna learn, and then we wanna catch a really big fish, and then we wanna just be out on the river with our friends. And I think a lot of people tend to stay in that really big fish portion for so long because they're not leveling up the other aspects. Hence the reason I say a gym membership is the best thing you can invest in, is because you start to learn that you're doing these things for so many more reasons than just that dopamine rush of big fish. And so when
It's
it comes down to it, I would say the only thing you need is a fly rod. Buy a combo set. Costco, I think, has one now that's like
Thank you. $175.
$175,
Yeah.
which is
I was
and they
gonna
get it.
ask you about that. I wanna go buy one, and I'll just give it to somebody, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But I wanna
yeah,
go buy it and fish it just to, like we should just do that. You do one, I'll do one, and just review it and just see, how good's it fish? I mean, it's gonna fish just fine, in my
yes.
opinion, you know? Worst case, you just upgrade the fly line at some point, which will cost you the same amount of money as the rod did in the first place, you
Y
know?
yeah. Well, and even then, so, 2 out of the 3, I mean, I have like 4 or 5, but 2 out of the 3 main guide rods that I use, unless one of them breaks, has $10 line from Amazon and $10
Nice.
fly
A
line.
link to that if a young man's listening or somebody's wanting to get into it. Do you know what it's called?
Yeah, I think it's SF fly line, and I can send you the link after this, that way you
Yeah,
Yeah,
can
yeah.
that's cool. Because, dude, I'm just a huge advocate. I hate the whole gatekeeping thing and the whole, like, it's gotta be the best and the fanciest, like, it's not as much anymore, but when I was younger getting into it, it was like the Orvis guy, you know what I
yeah,
mean? It was like the Orvis vest and all the $2,000 rod and then the special, like, whatever, what's it? It starts with a W fly box, the metal Winsley or Wembley, the British what you know what I mean? It had to be this whole thing. It was more of a lifestyle, right? Like, if you
right.
don't drink whiskey and you don't, have your cigar break and all that, and it's just like, I want that dirty kinda gym rat kid to
Mhm.
go out and fall in love with throwing a fly, you know?
Right, right.
Um, and so, yeah, I saw that from Costco and I was like, "This is badass," right? Like, $175. Most kids can go work a Saturday raking yards. If they wanna go fishing bad enough, they'll do it, right?
Yeah, yeah, and to be honest, they get even cheaper than that too. Like, I think I've seen one
Yeah.
that's like maybe it's Echo that has this, like, cool little, like, young kids I think they call it the Gecko, and I think it's like $70. Don't quote me
Rod
on
reel
that, but
combo, all of it.
we say again?
It's the rod reel combo, comes with line,
I
backing,
th
everything all ready to go.
I think so, and again, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
they do have a Gecko combo.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. So
Yeah, okay, keep going though, I wanna hear, like, what do you not waste money on then? What do you go get, like so in the hunting world, we've had this question and it comes back with, like, go borrow a pack, go to Savers or whatever it is, Goodwill, get stuff that's just not cotton, doesn't matter. But maybe go buy yourself the best kind of the best pair of boots you can buy yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because your feet will kill you out there. Like,
yeah.
what's the thing that will, like, with hunting, it'll, like it could at best, it ends your trip. It you might die, if you got some of the wrong gear, but, like, in fishing, what's that piece of gear that will end a trip if it fails you? I guess outside of
Ooh.
fly rod and reel, because those with certainty you need, but
Yes, yes, I agree with you, fly rod and reel. Outside that, I would say I mean, you could argue that a good pair of, like, wet wading shoes or let's say the best investment is your footwear.
yeah.
other than that, because that really can ruin a trip. I remember we went to fish in Wyoming during the fall, and I think it touched like -2,
Yeah.
and I had forgot my waders and boots, and you'll never guess what I was wearing. I was wearing Chacos, and
Yeah.
I I am surprised I have all 10 toes.
Yeah.
Um, it was miserable, and when you're miserable like that, it also takes away from, like, the capabilities of your fishing. You really
Yeah.
can't think, you're just thinking about the throbbing in your toes. So
Yep.
I would definitely say a pair of footwear is the next best investment, whether it is Chacos or a good pair of, boots from Savers that you found that you don't mind getting wet, but you just want something that can, put in the effort that you
Yeah.
need.
Yeah.
I've got a buddy that has all the money in the world, and still to this day, he'll go find from Savers or Goodwill just a pair of boots that's too big, like 2 sizes too big, and he'll just fish them for 1 or 2 seasons, and he'll just tie them on over his waders, and he's like, "They feel better on my feet, they're not big and clunky, and
Yeah.
I paid $20 for these things," He's like, "I just find a pair that's good, kinda."
Don't care if I ruin them or
Yeah, you
anything.
don't
Nice.
care, and he's like, "I've had these for 4 years, I bought them for $30, and,
Yeah.
they're just they were throwaway to start with," and dude, from a conservation standpoint, like, there's nothing better in the world than reusing something that's already been made, right? Rather than buying more and more crap that, probably was made in China that we don't need,
Yeah.
you know? So, I mean, I love that idea. So, anything else for the young man getting into it? I love the Costco rod or something like that. Um, fly box, just, the puck that comes with the flies. I mean, you don't particularly need a fly box, right? I mean,
Right, right. No, you don't need a fly box. I actually, when I first started fly fishing, I would actually I would take a few flies and I would strap them to like my little like NASCAR hat or like cartoon hat, whatever hat I had.
yeah,
And I would just use those. And usually it was like a worm pattern and then maybe an egg pattern. I was so young, I didn't even really know the difference. I just
yeah,
was expecting to catch fish. To piggyback on what you're saying, for all the young men out there, this is what I would say. I would say stay true to who you are and your beliefs as far as that will help determine what you purchase for yourself. So I've gotten some offers to start posting things from some companies that are from other countries, and they don't believe in sustainability at all.
right.
So they don't care for our rivers, they don't care for our trout, and they have offered to pay me, like, a pretty crazy sum. After, like,
Yeah.
the 25th time, I had to just be like, "No, I'm not doing this." And
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
do believe that's another thing to be said, like, yes, if you have to buy a rod off of Temu and use it, that's totally fine. I would never judge anyone for whatever they use, but at the same time, if it's something you wanna invest in what you believe in, because they're also going to show you that they believe in you. Like Orvis, I remember I just broke a rod, um, last weekend, and literally that night, I had them shipping me a new rod tip the same day, and
yeah.
that
Yeah.
felt amazing because I have invested in them with everything, and they basically showed me that same love, and it was without question.
Orvis is next
That's
level right
amazing.
now. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of buddies that are guides have basically gone all in on, or they've a quiver of Orvis now, and
Yeah.
they throw amazing, and it's just that same feedback of like, let's just say other rod brands where you send them in a tip, and it's like 6 months later you get, you know what I mean? You get it back. You got to bug them. That same buddy Nate, he had broken a tip, and the rep was like an hour away, and he's like, "Dude, I'll just drive you one down," you know. And it's like, that is insane. That is so cool. And those rods, like, I don't own one. I'm a kind of a stick to what I've already got until it breaks or I need a new one. So I'm like that, but that's the one that has me tempted is those Orvis rods. They throw so freaking nice. So
Yeah.
uh, yeah, man. What do you
Yeah, I mean,
because you're our new guy, so I
I
want
just
you to
love
like,
I just keep getting hung up on the gym membership. That was a good response, man.
dude,
And
and
and so
you hit
it's
our hearts because I mean that's for T
yeah.
and I, that's we agree, like that's a huge piece of just lifestyle and for men and just taking care of themselves and everybody, we all do it a little differently. Like, I'm 290 and Tyrell's
165 right now.
160, so
We're small.
I'm damn near twice the weight of T. But he just got done, he's getting ready to run that. You already run an ultra this summer and 100 miler?
No, no, no.
But
We're
I mean you'll do
we
5 or
just did a
6.
half marathon this last weekend for some
Yeah.
speed, so we're
Yeah.
we're light and nimble. It wasn't too fast, but we're trying.
And
Sweet.
you got crushed. I was on a river. You texted me like, dude, it didn't go great.
That was a couple weekends before.
Oh,
That one
oh,
didn't go good. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
We had a little
What happened?
redemption this last weekend.
What happened?
Dude, it hurt my soul. And I
Yeah.
didn't want to be out there anymore. And Uh,
And it was 12
it was
hours?
a good day. Yeah, it was a 12-hour race and just kind of packed it in quick, but um
But you did the half
yeah,
marathon, redeemed yourself.
just couldn't get out of the head, dude.
Yeah,
It was a hard grind that day.
Mhm.
yeah.
And just trying to go hard. I was like, we're gonna see how far we can redline and
And you
and I
redlined and
found
then
that.
you couldn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it look like for you, Levi? I mean, is it I mean, I love it. I love so much what you're saying there, because it's a part of my life. It's been a part of my life, for as long as I can remember, but, why the gym? Why the gym membership? I know you already said it, that mental health piece, but
Yeah, but what is it to me?
yeah.
Ooh, so I don't know. Have you seen the post about my fiance?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, that's okay. It's kind of buried in all of this stuff. So my fiance was actually diagnosed with a pretty severe brain tumor.
Oh shit.
Um,
Mm,
Shit
Sorry to
is
hear that, man.
wild. God is good. I love him to the ends of the earth. I've had an angel strapped to my back for since the day we found out. But I will say this: the gym for me taught me so much and helped me build the confidence to know that I was never alone. I always had myself. And so I am such an advocate in the perspective of it really does. I mean, obviously, it will give you body dysmorphia. That's the realest thing. I'll always be fat no matter how strong I am.
yeah, yeah,
But it really does create such a good. I like how my therapist said it. It helps you build pillars of values and morals to know who you are.
Ooh.
yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that even goes down to the way I fish, and so the gym for me has built these pillars and shown me that with consistency, like, whatever I dreamed of could be a thing. Like, when I walk into the house after a good pump and my fiance is like, "Levi, is that you?"
What
I'm
up?
like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, buddy."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that means the world to me because she's starting to see the things that for the longest time I self-deprecated and never saw.
Yeah.
And so as these people around me started to notice, and as I started to notice for myself, it made me realize like, holy cow, I could be a guide. I could be a good guide. Holy cow, I can start posting on socials and no matter how much crap I get, like I'm the one putting in the work. I'm the one going every day. So I do 5 days a week, usually 3 on, 1 day off, 3 on, 1 day off. And I have just built these like unshakable values and morals and these strong pillars that hold my house up constantly. Even through this whole situation with my fiance, like she'll go to the gym with me sometimes, but I've noticed this level of like strength internally and externally towards everything for her. And I'm so grateful for it in that aspect. And I believe that the reason we never start hobbies that we like or the reason we give up on hobbies that we like is because something in life has wanted to take that away from us, whether it's the evil of the world or the darkness or whatever you describe it as. I believe the point that your hobbies are taken from you is the point you lose your pillars, right?
Mm.
Mm.
And I love that you get a win out of it every morning if you go. Like I'm kind of an every morning guy, and it's not always pretty.
Yeah.
I have a rule, just I have a touch the bar rule is my rule, right? So just I have a gym at the house here, so I just walk out of the house, cup of coffee, and I'll just come in. And if I'm feeling like hell, I'm sore, whatever, I still just go, okay, I'm just going to move a little bit and see where it goes from there.
Mhm.
And I think it's just that whole moment of going, I got myself to do it. I had a win. I left. Now I can go do my day, right? And know that I had a win already today. And probably I can stack a couple of those together, right?
Yeah, yes, and it compounds, right? So my little trick to get me to go to the gym on the days that I don't want to is I'll always have a fresh cup of pre-workout in the fridge. And if I come home and I'm making excuses, I'm like, I'm just gonna drink the pre-workout. Doesn't matter what time it is, it could be 10 PM.
Yeah.
I don't do that
Great
necessarily
visual.
anymore, but I had it ready because if I even had that pre-workout touch my tongue, I was ready to go.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily believe that's like the healthiest perspective, but what I do believe is having some kind of like backup plan to remind you why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, or just a little trigger that gets you to kinda just do that first little thing. So they say if you wanna jog a lot, put your shoes next to the bed. When you wake
Yes.
up, you see them. And
Yeah.
it's those little tiny things that'll get you even for me, the reason I fished, those 9 days in a row is I just had my truck topper. I just left my little 7'6" little rig set up in the truck, and it was easy to go, "I'm gonna pass the river on the way home. I'm just gonna jump out in there, put on my chacos, and I'm just gonna wet wade out and see if I can't catch a fish," and it was like,
Yep.
"Man, this is working." And so it's those things build those little habits and those little tricks, but I have a lot of those in my life where I kind of create friction on the things you don't want to. So how do you make it harder to do the things that we don't want to be doing? And then how do we how do we lubricate those things that we do want to be doing where we set ourselves up for success there? Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. But every good thing involves eliminating something else, right? So you have to make a sacrifice. So at 10 o'clock, if you're going to the gym, it means you're not probably going out with those buddies that want to go out and,
Mhm.
boozing or whatever your friends do, right? So, dude, tell me about your fiance. Where's she at and what's going on?
Yeah, so she's a tattoo artist. She's working right now. Um, I mean, there's so much to the story, but essentially what happened is one of my closest friends passed away from drinking, and,
Mhm.
they live in St. George, and we were getting ready to go down for the funeral, and I had to finish up a few things, and she had fallen, and she couldn't pick herself up,
Ah,
and she's 29 years old,
mm,
and, she calls me, and she's like, "Levi, like, I need you to get home." And, so I get home and she's just, like, covered in, like, little scrapes everywhere. I'm like, "Baby, what happened?" And she's like, "I fell forward just walking and I couldn't pick myself up." And at that moment, I've never really been, like, that spiritual because I had, like, really negative experiences with it. But,
mm,
at that moment, I would say a few weeks before that moment, I've had just these weird just moments in my life where my belief has approached me in ways that are just kind of unexplained. And I had my angel just be like, "Levi, it's time to get an MRI. Like, this is serious."
yeah,
So we get to the doctors and he's like, "Let's do blood tests. Let's do this. Like, it's probably gluten. It's probably this." And I'm like, "No, we're getting a fucking MRI."
yeah, yeah,
Um, and, so we got that MRI and they called us same day. And that's how we knew that something was up because they were calling us like, it wasn't like the next day or whatever. And they're like, "We need you to come in." And Savannah is her name. Savannah and I just look at each other and we're like, crap. So we sit down in the doctor's office and they're like, "We don't know how to tell you this, but you have a brain tumor the size of a grapefruit."
mhm,
And
right,
it was I have never felt more like we've been in a simulation than that day. I literally felt like I was in, like, The Notebook or something like that.
Yeah.
yeah. Your
And
whole
also
world,
another
right?
thing to,
World
like,
turns upside down in a second at that moment.
yeah, yeah, and another thing too is, like, when that happened, it's so interesting because that's when you get to learn what being a true man to your partner or a true partner
Mhm.
is I could have chose to bawl and lose my mind, which I definitely
You
wanted
wanted
to.
to, yep,
Yep.
But at that moment, I just looked at her. I wouldn't shed a tear. I smiled and I was like, "We'll get through this. We've already been through so much. We'll get through
yeah,
this."
yeah,
And so I brought all the strength in the world for that. And since we were already driving down to St. George where all of our family was, we were just like, "Let's go down to St. George and be with family. They'll help us with all of this." So as we're driving down to St. George, keep in mind, this is the same day. Um, my fiance's family is all in the medical field. They're like, "Hey, come straight to the hospital. Like, they're ready to see you. We don't need to wait for an appointment or anything." And I'm just like, wow, like, God is really watching out for us here.
mhm,
And so we get into the hospital, and with that night, she was having a biopsy. So she was having brain surgery. And then she had another surgery to place a shunt because
yes,
the pressure, the tumor was putting so much pressure in her head that she was
yeah,
losing a lot of like function.
yeah,
And that was over a 2-day period. And I remember the first night, that was when she had her first surgery. Um, I stayed up all night and I would literally carry her to the bathroom and help her use the bathroom or puke. And I would carry her back. And that was probably every 5 minutes. And her mental status was not there. I thought that I was going to say
yeah,
goodbye to my fiance.
yeah,
It was so bizarre. I remember just looking at her and just being like, "Holy shit, this may be the last time I see you." And I woke up from the 30 minutes to an hour of sleep that I had, and she's smiling at me, and she's a little more conscious. And I'm like, okay, like I get her for another day. So then we have the second brain surgery, and essentially, this doctor is a goofball. That's all I'm going to say because I have a lot of other things to say to him. But after the second surgery, he basically said, "You have a few weeks with your partner," and I am just like, there's no emotion to
yeah,
explain
yeah,
exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, we're supposed to be married in September and we've been dating for 10 years. Um,
Yeah.
there is no one more ride or die than my fiance and I. We have been through hell and back. We've seen the world, blah, 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 blah. In my opinion, obviously.
Yeah.
But, and so it was such a crazy experience for me. And essentially what happened is we left the hospital down south and they wanted us to go to Huntsman. And Huntsman was like, I don't know where all these details came from, but you could survive. You could have decades on your life. And so
And
I went from thinking that it was the last time I would ever see my fiance to now we're going to the gym together, we're eating healthier, and we're also pursuing our dreams with like a different perspective. Like I started my account as it was a personal account at first, and I think I had like 1,800 followers. And within 50 days, I've built it to I think 3.2 thousand or 13.2 thousand.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I've just gotten all of these people like sending me pictures of the fish they've caught and all these things. And I started this after we found out about the tumor because I was like, I wanted to show her that your dreams are right there and you don't
Mm,
have to give them up. And so every day she'll walk in and she'll be like, what do you think I should do about this? And how should I make this video? And I get to help her with it. And for me, that brings me the most fulfillment. I don't care, how many views I get. I don't care about any of that. What I care about is that she walks in the door and she believes in her dream like even 1% more than she did yesterday.
right. Absolutely. You mentioned early on, right when we are introducing you, got some big things coming up.
Yes.
You wanna tell us about the big
that
things,
was
man?
special, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the big
I
things,
think that's part of the story, right? It's just like going, "I'm going big." Like, I'm not like, life is short. We don't know what we got here.
yeah,
Uh,
so I would love to share the big things with you, but, unfortunately, I can't at the moment. I can
well,
tell
be careful,
little
man. Yeah.
I can tell little pieces about it. So I truly believe, and this it's funny because my belief is like it's bigger than planet Earth as far as like the idea of it. But I believe that the outdoors, especially fly fishing, will change the world one day.
Yeah.
Um, it is because of the state that it puts a human in. It puts them in a state of becoming the best human they can be. Granted, there are some assholes in the outdoor community, but
Sure. Yeah.
genuinely, majority of them are so incredible and so strong and so thought provoking and intuitive. And what I want to do will include all of those beautiful things about who fly fishermen are, and it will change the world starting with youth. And it's also just it's led with value. I'm not looking to make a crap load of money off of it or anything. I genuinely believe that if I can do this correctly, it will create massive waves and piss off the right people and
Yeah.
give the also the people that deserve it the right confidence for their next steps. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Love that.
it's gonna be cool.
I'm a big
That's
fan of pissing off the people that deserve it.
Me
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Oh, brother. That's awesome, man. It would be really fun. I don't wanna make you have to spend too much time in it with your fiancé, but, I mean, I love the perspective of that and just how you really soak up every little second not knowing how much you're gonna have, and we should all have that perspective, right? I think we should all have
Like
that.
without like trauma, it's like how would I assume it's like you wish you could bottle that energy up and give it to someone else of like how you should pursue and chase a dream and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think something to piggyback on real quick with all of that is, man, I grew up Mormon, and
Mhm.
I had a lot of really interesting experiences. I actually still consider myself Mormon, and my fiance gets pissed about it because she's not at all, but, in a healthy way, of course.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
I am such a believer that every human should become closer with God. And when I say God, it's their God. I don't care who it is. If it's
Yeah.
science, if it's flat earthers and that's their God, if it's a T Rex, just get closer with your God. Because I believe it brings one, so much comfort. If at the end of the day, none of this is real, the blanket that it creates for you and feeling like you always have someone that is close enough that can hear your deepest darkest secrets or be there for you or even give gratitude, that all in itself is like such a huge portion of like I have a prayer every day with my God, and I'm just like, hey, thank you that I get 5 more seconds with my fiance.
Mhm.
And the thing I'll finish with is I give myself and my existence to you to help me protect, save, and love every single human I can. Just help me make the right choices. And I think that that's so healthy and I don't expect anyone to believe the way I do. I just would love for everyone to find their pillars or their beliefs and really learn to love them for who they are and what they are.
Yeah, man, I love that protector piece too. We've talked a lot about that on this, but as we both have a couple of kids, and once you have a child driving a car, it has changed the way I drive a car. You know, it so has. Like I go down the road and somebody cuts me off or somebody, they go to the roundabout and they stall, or they go too fast or whatever. I always just think to myself, like that could be that's somebody's little girl, no matter who it is, or somebody's little boy in there. And it's my job to protect him. I drive a big old 2,500 truck, and I should be a sentinel on the road of protection, right? Like you should like a big rock in a river for a little fish to get behind. And I believe that's who we as men, especially who we are built to be, right?
Yeah.
Is you be that big boulder, you be a protector, you be a soft place for people to land. And I so believe exactly what you're saying, man. It's like that's for me as a man, that's one of the pillars, right? You should live in that protector energy. And always kind of keep that heart about you, you know.
Yeah.
Because you run into people even on the river, right? Like I was fishing last weekend and somebody kind of I was walking up a chunk of canyon. It's hard as hell to get into. And I don't think these guys saw us, but they're kind of coming down the canyon as we're moving into like the best little hole. And they're coming down above us. And like we could have been complete assholes. And don't just go, hey, I know that you've come down here, but if you don't mind, right? Like we've been, we spent the last 3 hours taking our time to get up to this little spot. And they're like, yeah, totally cool. We just didn't see you, but I could have popped off and been an a-hole and ruined their day and ruined their fishing trip as well. And it was a father-daughter. And had I been a little further away, but I literally was stepping into it, and it was just a deep canyon, so you couldn't see us in there. But
Yeah.
just really carrying that protector energy and man, that perspective. I mean, I have a friend, one of my best, he's the best man at my wedding. He's going through that with his son. He has a brain tumor. Um, it's not good. It's kind of the worst version of a brain tumor you can get. We get to go on a mule deer hunt this year, and it changes everything about how you take your time with that. The perspective of every second,
Yeah.
just matters. You soak it up, and it's unfortunate that it takes us going through those hard things to maybe realize that and recognize like, hey, this time is precious here, and maybe don't go sit in the office as much, right?
Yeah.
Maybe don't give your whole life to that, right? Go out and do something that's gonna bless your heart, make you
Yeah.
feel alive.
Two
Um,
things real quick is one, will you send my stuff to him? Will you kind
yeah.
of let him know? So I started something where anyone that's going through a similar situation, they get free guide trips on me for the year.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then two, I do want to emphasize something, and sorry for calling you out, is I noticed when we you like mentioned like my little girl, that little hint of emotion that men do where at that moment you chose whether to like, start to tear up because you have
Yeah,
so much emotional attachment to that. And that is
yeah,
fucking cool. And I love that, by the way, because I'm
yeah,
such a believer is that good parents are one of the ways that we save this, like whatever's going on with this world is like
right.
it's so contagious. Even that little moment of my little girl and that little
Yeah.
of emotion, like
Mhm.
we don't realize how many people pick that piece up and it reminds them of what's really important. And I just wanted to call you out and be like, you already sound like a good father to me. And you
Well, Tyrel, see, like I'll start crying if I go there. I cry easy, and I'm
It's
big,
oh,
and
this is Pisces through and through.
it's
But
just a thing.
I
But
just wanted to emphasize like that
yeah,
vulnerability is cool. And I do believe that that is a big piece of us as
right.
humans.
It,
I,
yeah,
I think I'm a younger parent than he is, and um, I still feel really rookie at it, and but it's like you keep touching on points of having these pillars, these beliefs, these values, and right now for it, like with my 7-year-old, it's like a real heavy time in the house of like how like as a family, how do we live up to these values, right? It's like we should have these pillars
hmm,
that we're kind of like falling back on. And before it's been kind of like subconscious, like, yeah, this is how we believe. This is how we should communicate to people. And I think ultimately you're showing by action, and that's probably what they're picking up on most. But kind of that taking a step back and like, I need to teach you why these pillars are holding our house up, if that makes sense.
right.
Because now she's 7, and it's like she's going to remember these, whether she's going to she's old enough to remember everything that I'm putting towards her, whether she
Yeah,
wants to or not, or be able to pull it immediately, or whether that comes future. But right now, she is developing herself, and sometimes I feel like, man, I'm really dropping the ball. Um, with the teaching portion of this, and not just like the guiding of like, hey, this is how we do it. And it's like,
yeah, you
no, we need to
assume
really
because they
sit
just
back and like,
yeah,
why are these pillars holding up our house? And
yeah,
and you've really just made me open my eyes to this conversation of just kind of, oh, I have those inside of me, but I need to help her find
right,
those.
and a faith base, it makes it easier, and it's interesting, so we're brothers, and we land in different worlds in our faith, and I love Tyrel for that. I don't
Yep.
he should believe what he wants to believe, and but it's easy, it's cooked in, and it doesn't always, if you have a faith base, a church or something there, it comes with a little bit of a rule book, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's a little easier, but it's also it doesn't always stick because there's assumptions made and people don't actually live by that. But I think so when you have to sit down yourself and go, what is that for me? And inevitably, I think you've also run into, well, there is something in me. There is a desire, there's a spiritual side, and what's that gonna land on? Where's that gonna latch onto,
Yeah.
right? Because it's a real piece, but it's funny, it's like my son, he's 14, he started getting in the weight room, and he was out here with me the other night, and I said, "Okay, we're gonna do this, this, and this, and this," and he's been watching YouTube videos and dumbasses telling him what to do, and he, like, looks at me, he goes, "Well, how do you know that works?" And I just, like, looked at him, and I pointed at my body, and I was like, "Because of this." You know what I mean? The proof is in the pudding with the weight room,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was just like, "Do you have any other dads that
Yeah,
I
yeah.
not to be a douche, but get your friends and bring their dads in here, and I'll show you how I know and why I know this works."
Yeah.
You know, like, it works, but it's a trip, and it's funny because like, dude, with my daughter, like, um, I get I do get really emotional, but, with her, so she was actually she was a twin, and I don't like talking about this on the podcast because of the emotional side, but she's a twin, and her sister passed away, like, right after they were born. I got, like, 6 hours with her, um, and I have always carried that with me, and I try and carry it in a very positive way. Like, I believe we can turn our past into our power and not our weakness, and so but, you know, I always look at her and I go like, "This girl gets the love of 2 kids," she gets it's, if I woke up tomorrow and I had her sister with me, what would I do? Would I she's a dancer, so she gets home at 9:45 at night a couple nights a week, and I'll already be in bed wanting to go to sleep, and if I hear her come in the door, I'm up, and I make her a snack, and I will sit with her for a bowl of cereal or for a quesadilla or whatever, I made her that night until she's too tired to go anymore, and I'm like, "Okay, we go to sleep now." But I think it's that little reminder that I've been given as a gift of going like, soak up every second. So they don't, I mean, I thought of it the other day as like, I don't know how many times my son had to hear me tell him I love him today, but it's probably 8 or 10. And he's not a hugger, but I make him give me 6-second hugs. He knows. And so he'll try and do the one arm side hug. And I'm like, you know the drill, buddy. And he's like, all right. And I'm like, I'll count to 6. And I'm like, all right, you can go now. And it's just those little things, those gifts of losing her sister that make me go like, I'm gonna love these kids so freaking hard, that they're not gonna ever have a doubt. Like, I'm not good at everything. I screw up a lot of shit, but at the end of the day, they're gonna know I love them to death.
Yeah.
And so it's those little things are gifts, right? You just have to look at them and go like, um, what did I learn from that? And how do I better love and how do I better connect and give my all, because it takes no energy to sit with somebody or to give them a hug or just to tell them you love them one more time,
Yeah.
because we don't know. We could be I don't know if I flipped a drift boat or not drift boat, a raft one time, and I thought I was done. I got pinned underneath a rock in a big, hard left tension in a river, and, a lot of shit goes through your head when you're pinned under a rock in a river like that.
Yeah.
And, you come out and you're spitting up water and you're going, "Oh, that could have been it. Could have been it for me." And so, um yeah, not to get too deep and dark on the sad stuff, but I think it comes up so often on the podcast, and the rest of the team is like, "Hey, don't be afraid to laugh a little bit or have fun." Like, "Hey, we're having fun." But the truth is that, man, when you're out in the woods, like, this is when these thoughts come up. This is where we go to process and we digest and we leave it out there on the river sometimes, and that's a great thing. Or you leave it on the side of the mountain. You go up, you have the conversation, like you said, with some of your people that sit down and say, I've been through a lot lately," and and you have that conversation, and hopefully you don't take it. I know you probably don't. Like, you just leave it right there on the side of the river and you go fish. and I think it's a great thing. Take some of those heavy things out of the backpack, just set them there. The river can take it, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So, okay, I got more questions for you, man.
Yeah.
Fun. So something another fun kind of like question I have for a guy that fishes a lot. Um, do you fish out of a boat much? Do you guys float? Or you walk wading? What's your program up there?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of everything. So,
Yeah.
I have a river rat, shout out river rat because they make the best rafts. Perfect. They're not too narrow like a flycraft. Sorry, flycraft. And
I know.
then
I have a Dave Scadden version of the Flycraft,
yeah,
and there's like, gosh darn it, dude. Like I dig it. I bought it because I like the idea, but like it is so hard to get a bite on the water. Like it's just you just need a little more leverage against the river, right?
yeah, yeah, one microburst and that Dave Scatton is gone. Same as a flycraft, you know?
Yeah, they're the
Um,
same, basically.
but yeah, and then we also do some drift boating on the green and things like that, and then as well as
Yeah.
float tubes. So I have a fish cat
Yeah.
that I love.
Nice. Okay, so I'm on the boat with you. Do you allow music? I bring a JBL.
Oh, you catch more fish when you listen to reggae.
Okay.
I've
Okay,
said
so that
it. I've hated reggae most of my life, but my 2 closest buddies that we actually go out with, they'll turn on reggae, and literally that's all I listen to now, even at the gym, but you catch more fish with reggae. It's the craziest thing. You can even bring, 10 bananas on the boat. It just happens.
So so reggae is now the gym playlist. It's the thing now, huh?
Oh, yeah, it's the everything playlist. My fiancé even hates
Yeah.
it.
You're
Ah,
like one day you'll
I
see it.
completely agree. Like, I think for me, like, I go back and forth on the what yeah, so you answered my second question. It's like, so if we allow music on the boat, what's the playlist, right?
yeah.
What's not allowed? What do you like? Absolutely not. Because for
Some
me,
jazz.
Tyrell knows what's not allowed for me. What's not allowed, Tyrell?
I guess I don't know. On the boat, did I get
Any
Red Hot Chili Peppers?
yeah.
Okay.
No Red Hot Chili Peppers allowed, dude.
I got a Red Hot Chili Peppers tattoo, so we kinda we like
We don't agree on that either. Oh. What's not
Oh.
allowed? What if somebody turns it on, you're like, "You're sorry. Next.
The Red Hot
Next."
Chili Peppers has a very good, array of songs. We
Whatever,
don't have to
dude.
go down this.
I know. It's actually funny you say that because for the longest time, I was the guy that people were telling this is not allowed on the boat.
Okay.
So I would listen to a lot of underground rap that I'm not even gonna mention the names of these rap artists 'cause, they don't sound the most positive, and they're not, but
And they're not positive. One of my favorite kinda, like, low-key rap guys is Prof. I don't know if you know who Prof is as a rapper, but I'll send you some of his music.
yeah, you'll
But
have to.
but I had a whole day, like, I just downloaded a ton because where I fish a lot, you don't have service, and me and 2 buddies were just like, "That was the sickest day," and then I found out he loves fly fishing, and I'm
No
like,
way.
"That's why it worked," and he's like this city boy, like, kinda Detroit. I don't know where he's from, maybe Ohio or something like that, I think,
Yeah, I'm not
just
sure.
based on some of his songs, but, like, I'll send you some of his stuff, but the dude loves fly fishing, and he's always kinda touring the West, like, he'll always stop in Wyoming somewhere,
Yeah.
and I need to message him and be like, "Dude, okay, this could sound really creepy and weird, but, like, next time you're here, like, I wanna take you fishing." You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Don't
Yeah.
don't say the part where it sounds creepy or weird. That's when it's
Right.
creepy or weird.
Yeah, just throw
Yeah.
it out.
Which shout
Yeah.
out, by the way, have you followed, his name is Eland, he's the comedian that's always out fly fishing too?
I haven't seen that.
Is he a black dude?
Yes, and
Yeah,
he is
yeah.
legit, and so,
Hilarious, dude.
Eland, I'm sorry, but I've planned this elaborate scheme, so he's coming to Salt Lake, and I'm gonna go see his show, and I'm basically gonna, like, legally just, like, take him hostage with
Kidnapping?
good beers and flies and just be like, "Dude, you're"
Yeah.
Oh
um,
my god. I
He's
yeah.
love it.
hilarious, dude. I mean, yeah, I love watching this stuff, and especially because he calls out like, he loves to call out there's so much bullshit in fly fishing,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
love when he makes fun of us, myself included, you know?
Mhm.
Um, dude, rod vault, yes or no?
Rodball.
The
Oh,
douche tube.
the douche tube. I'm looking for a second one, actually. So I guess it's the double douche now. Um, I would say so rod vaults for guides, and that comes with its own kind of
Rod
like
vaults are for guides.
yeah, yeah, rod vaults
That's
for
my opinion.
guides, that's really, like, where it shines, but even then, you become a target. So I've known multiple cars that are targeted because the rod vaults. Because when you see that, you know there's money.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly, dude.
But and
Is
as
that
far
on
as like,
top of
It's the thing
vehicle?
on top, you see him
Okay.
all the
Yep,
time.
yep, yep,
You'll
oh
see
yeah,
dudes rolling all and I'm like,
yep.
"Really, bro? You fish so much that you gotta be rigged just
Yeah.
hard all day
Some of them,
long,
I'm like,
ready to go."
that looks like you could fit some stuff in there.
You can put a lot
That's a
they're
good
super convenient when you are like if it was easy to just click one on and click one off, which, I probably could, like, there's definitely, like, this time of year for me, like, it would be super convenient to just have it because I'm, kind of if I've got it, every day,
yeah,
I'll jump on the river for an hour.
yeah,
But nonetheless, dude, like, there is part of that time for me where you're putting your rod together and just it's the meditative piece of fly fishing for me where I like taking the time to go, "Okay, let's just put this together. Let's look at the river, take your time to tie on a fly that maybe, I don't know, let that instinct kick in, like he said, like Levi, you're talking about, like, what instinctively should I put on this line today? But
right,
anyway, what's your opinion on rod vaults? And
yeah.
we're gonna piss people off, dude. And I have dudes I absolutely love that have rod vaults on. So I've got some of my best friends that have them. So I'm not being mean here. Just it's a funny thing.
Yeah, honestly, so I'm so pro rod vaults, and I'll tell you why. It's so funny. I'm sure by this time next year, if I'm on the podcast or something, I'll probably have a black eye, um, because
Yeah.
because truthfully, I'm so vocal, and I will yell at a guide across the river if he's yelling at his clients. Because the truth is the world wants to kill your identity. And so if part of your
Yeah.
identity is a rod vault, if part of your identity is Euro nymphing, if part of your identity is
Dude.
okay, so a big thing on our river is these diverse cultures that are hand lining. And I actually got in a debacle with a guide before. It almost got physical, where he was yelling at these people and they didn't even understand because they were probably from a different country.
Yeah.
And I stepped in and I was like, "Hey, first of all, buddy, like they probably have no clue what's going on. Their
Right.
country, things are different. You can go, this is how you feed your family. To be honest, I prefer you feeding your family over making money off of it." I was like, "When I'm on a guide
Well,
trip, you don't talk to people this way."
yeah.
And so that's the whole thing for me is I'm gonna be pro everything as long as it's, like, keeping our rivers healthy and the fish healthy, because at the end of the day, I'm gonna fight against the world as far as, like, keeping people's identity and creativity, and I think a rod vault for a lot of people is to show it's like a girl rocking a new tattoo or maybe dyeing her hair. It's for a dude, it's to show, like, I have a love for fishing and I'm out frequently enough that this comes in handy for me.
Yeah.
And so I'm pro everything to be honest, as far as like as long as it's good for everybody. As if it's good for you and it doesn't hurt the fish and it doesn't hurt the river, I'm 100% for it.
Sick. I
yeah.
love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I love it. Because they get made fun of a lot, right?
Oh, they
It's a
do. Yeah, and another thing that's crazy is so one of my closest buddies, he actually just recently started um doing videos. And his whole concern was like, "Well, Levi, I'm going to be copying you." I'm like, "You're not copying me if you're my brother." I was like, "Dude, whatever I can help you with, I'll help you. Like the law of abundance is real. Like let's do this." And no joke, he would always tell me he's like, "What if I get made fun of?" And I'm like, "Dude, you're gonna get made fun of." I was like, "Listen, Facebook is the number one place for these grouchy old heads to pick apart something." I was like,
yeah.
"Just expect it," which I always laugh at it. I have so much fun reading the hate and just being like, "Dude, like you're
Yeah.
thinking about me at 9 o'clock at night. Like I love this. I love it because I'm definitely not thinking about you." And
Yeah.
so he got invited to a group text. He didn't know anyone in it, and they were all talking shit on him. And he just
Nice.
started posting new videos. And there's this stigma in the world where it's like, "Oh, this new young creator, and he thinks that he can fish, and blah, 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 blah." And for me, it's so funny because it's like, listen, you're going to make fun of these young new creators because they're doing the things that you dreamed of and you never did anything. And there's the stigma with guides. Now, there's some guides that have really made success, and I'm not calling out all guides because there are great guides, but there is a huge majority of guides that have done nothing with their life. Nothing. They don't have health insurance. They don't have this. They don't have a retirement. They don't know what they're going to do next. And the sun has baked them to the point of being grouchy. And they're the ones that are always the keyboard warriors late at night telling you how you're wrong and this and that. And I basically just told them, I'm like, "Dude, either give me their numbers or get over it." Because
Yeah.
I am such a fighter for the youth. If you are wanting to start anything as a young person, the reason the world is in the place it is it's because of all of the old heads that decided to gatekeep instead of teach.
Mhm.
I believe we will save more rivers and more fish if we teach people how to protect trout, if we teach them about rivers, if we teach them why barbless is important, instead of saying, oh, go figure this out on your own. I believe it wholeheartedly,
Right.
and it will expand to everything else in life. Gatekeeping is the reason the world sucks. And I will sit with an old head all day long and won't even
Yeah.
argue with him. I will just say my piece and I will look at him. And if he wants to argue, then that's the prime example of the reason the world is dead now is because of that same attitude.
Yeah. What's the most gatekeep thing that you would like to just pull away? What's that habit, for guys listening, like, what do you mean by that? And, because I had a conversation with a buddy I took. We were supposed to go out yesterday. We were gonna go into, a chunk of river, um, that, I showed him. I said, "Hey, it's one of my favorite little spots I don't show very many people."
Mhm.
It's just a really tiny chunk of river. It's like 3 miles in, and he was asking about etiquette because in the hunting world, if somebody shows you a spot, you don't show that spot to anybody else, right? And
Right.
he said, "What's the rules with that in river in fishing?" And I said, "Dude, I don't really think that's a thing, right? If we all did that, nobody could fish any section of river because there's not that much water around." And so I told him, I said, "I drove up the canyon 2 weeks ago. I saw a buddy's truck on the side of the road, so I pulled in behind him and I grabbed my stuff and I ran down and I found him up the river and I was like, 'Dude, which way you going, up or down?' You know?"
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm working my way up." I said, "Cool, do you mind if I jump back at the bottom here?" And he's like, "No, man." He's like, "They'll have sore lips, because I caught them all already." And I was like, "Sure, sure you did." But I said, I don't really think there is such a thing in fishing, right? I mean, don't high hole somebody and jump in front of them. Be polite, but at the same time, like there's not a lot of water, and at the same time, there's a ton of water, but I said, "I don't really think that way. If I show you a spot, it means you go fish it tomorrow, and that'd be great. But
Yeah.
what do you see people doing?" And then one other thing, so touch on that, but as a guide, um, let's say I go to your river, I pay you to fish me for a day, and the next day you see me in my boat fishing all the same lines.
Yeah.
How's that feel?
Okay, okay, I got you on both of these.
Out on the river 30 minutes before you.
Yeah, um,
Same rig, same flies. I got a box full of everything you just showed me.
heck, you could even be wearing a Levi mask. The only way I would be pissed is if you had my fiancée out on the boat with you. Um,
I like that.
yeah, 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 but truthfully, okay, so I think there's a difference between spot burning and gatekeeping. So spot
Yeah.
burning is, like, giving specific locations, and, like, "Oh, the fish are right in this exact hole, and you wanna fish at this time." I think that there is people make it such a gray line between the 2 of them, but what I think gatekeeping really is it's more of the essence of, um, helping people that have put in the effort, and what I mean by the effort is, if someone comes up to you and goes, "Hey, dude, like, I'm really getting into fly fishing, can you just help me, like, figure out how to catch a fish?" So
Dude, all day
I'm
long.
all day long, I'm instantly it's so funny because people know me as, like, the charity case or the Make-A-Wisher because I literally will be like, "Hey, dude, like, have you caught a fish?" And he's like, "No." I'm like, "Here, take these bugs." And then it is
Yeah,
so fulfilling to me to, like, be with clients and have my clients watch me be kind, and then this kid rip in a fish, and he's like,
yeah,
"Wow, like, you're awesome, dude." Like, that
yeah.
means the world to me because I know they'll carry that into other, like, parts of their life. I can't tell you how many people I've told, they're like, "Hey, Levi, like, I really wanna get a big fish." Um, I've never seen them be an asshole. I believe you gotta read each person and kind of, like
Mm,
even the assholes, you have to try and give them advice to help them not be an asshole, but
yeah,
you have to just treat every situation with, like, importance where it's like, "Hey, dude, like, I would love to show you a spot. Like, can I tell you a few things? 1, if we get too much pressure on it, it will affect the trout habitat. Here's why."
yeah,
If you give them reasons why and you help them understand the circumstances of it, then odds are they're going to do what's right because you've taught them how to go catch a big fish, and then they're gonna have that same love and respect for it. And let's say he posted on social media tomorrow. It's the funniest thing is the world goes in these cycles, the rivers do, where one spot that people said sucked is gonna get less pressure and those fish are gonna get bigger. And then it's gonna
yeah,
rotate. And then a freeze off is gonna happen, and then it's gonna rotate, and then it's gonna rotate. There will always be places to get big fish, but it's the ones that have this narcissism or this egotistical idea where it's like, "Those are my big fish because I found that spot." And I'm like, "Dude, God created that spot." I'm like,
yeah,
You just got lucky. Yes, you did put in the time, but you got lucky in the perspective of, like, you get to be out here, you get to catch a 30-inch fish." But also another thing is, like, dude, you're posting a slimy 30-inch fish for others to see, but then you're saying like what importance or what value are you doing by that other than flexing your
Yeah.
big muscles online? It's the
Yeah.
craziest thing for me. Like people will always call me out like, "Well, you don't post any fish pics." I'm like, "It's not about that. I catch
Yeah.
the fish for me, dude. I don't even take pictures of my big fish. Like
Yeah.
genuinely, it's for me. The things that I post about are for you. It's all value based."
Mhm.
So so yeah,
And I
I'm
your
just
content. I was like, "This is sick." I love your messaging there. So,
yeah,
it's
thanks.
why I mean, I've reached out to Troy was one that way too. I was like, "This will be a great conversation because he's about giving it away, right?
Yeah,
How much can I encourage other people to do this as well?"
yeah. And then
Yeah,
there was 2 parts, right? Sorry, I went on a tangent, but then you were
well, that's kinda
asking
cool, right? Gatekeeping and then, that spot piece where if I show a buddy a spot in the hunting world, right, you kinda don't ever tell anybody else about it. And so there's balance to that too. But I think you kinda answered that question by
yeah.
saying, spots are gonna move. You're gonna get less pressure here, and then all of a sudden that's gonna be the good. 2 years from now, it could be the spot to be, right?
Yeah, and to just really piggyback on that quick too is I also think like in life we should never answer things like how AI answers things for us. So you never want to tell anyone, and these would be even my kids. If I had a s- if I mean I don't have kids, but if I had a son and he's like, "Dad, I really want to go catch this really big fish," I'd be like, "Okay, this is the river. What I want you to look for is this, this, and this is the range of bugs." You don't do them any justice by just being like, "I want you to throw this leech in this fifth of a centimeter hole right here and bounce it 5 times and then you'll catch that big brown." No, but you give them the tools to go learn it. And if they learn it, they also deserve it just as much as you.
Right, right. On the flies thing, I
Love
had
it.
one more question, like, what's a
Yeah.
fly that you tie on? Um, that whole saying of, like, fat girls and mopeds, right? Like, you don't want your friends to catch you on them. Um, what's, what's a fly that's that way that you're like, "I'm tying this on, but I kinda don't want anybody to know that I'm throwing it," you know? Like if you did take a fish picture, I've done this. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm saying this. I've done that with a pegged egg, right? I'll catch a nice fish, but, like, if I'm gonna take a picture of it in the net, because 'cause I'm usually if I'm alone, I'm just, like, snap a picture in the net and then put him back. But if it's a pegged egg, I'll pull that hook out real quick and, like, get the picture with that. But if it's a dry fly, I leave the dry fly in, right? I'm like, "That's what's up. This fish is on the dry." What's the one that, like, you don't want in the picture? You're pulling it out. You're ashamed of it.
Yeah.
Maybe like
I got a good one for this, and it's definitely such a funny thing. So, I would say for sure it would be a blob. And
what the blob, dude.
oh, okay. So I got one. Can you give me one second?
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
Okay, so I just made this one with thrift store material.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Are you able to see that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
bring it in just a little bit closer.
Yeah, should
Yeah.
focus.
What is it? It's got
Yeah.
legs and some
Yeah, so a blob essentially, um,
pencil, a
what it's
little
supposed to, like, mimic is, like, Daphnia or, like, plankton, and it's really good for still waters, but every time I get a picture with a blob in a fish's mouth or, like, someone sees me, it looks exactly like power bait once it gets wet, and
Oh,
and I never wanna be, like, looked at as fishing power bait on the fly rod. That is just, like, Jeffrey Dahmer type stuff,
yeah,
but, yeah, I would say it's a blob, hands down.
yeah,
If you sent me out fishing and you were like, "You have to go catch a fish today.
yeah, you're
Here's your
going
rod."
power bait.
Yeah, I'll probably walk into the store and like, "This is all I know."
Yeah,
And I kinda love that smell. So you
yeah,
just brought back some 12-year-old memories.
The garlic Play-Doh.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah,
And then, of course, when you're 12, it's, you know,
It's legal.
"Pass me that power bait." It's
Yep,
funny.
yep.
Who's over here using their power bait?
it works, man. It
It
works, and when
smells
you're
awesome.
12, it lasts
Yeah.
forever, and it doesn't matter.
Got some
Like, and
big
I'm a
city
firm
park
believer in
catfish.
that, like, early on, especially, right? It's like, yeah, catching catfish out of the
The
park
city
pond.
park, yeah.
Mhm. But it's just get that head shake feeling, like, one of my goals, our sister who's younger than us has twin boys that are 4 now,
They just turned 5. Yep.
but it's just like, I wanna get him to catch a fish, right? And the goal will be to get him on whatever pond is really productive, catch 2 or 3 each, maybe 5, but then leave, right? I want him to kind of get hooked and the goal is I've got this advice from a friend we had on the podcast, Josh Soholt, but leave when it's hot, so
Oh,
don't don't wait till it's cold and we've been fishing for an hour and haven't had a hook, take a
If
bite or
it's
anything. Just
15 minutes in,
15
pack it.
minutes or whatever it is. If it's 20, we've caught a lot of fish. All
Top,
right, boys,
pack it up.
time to wrap it up. We're going home. I
yeah.
want them to cry. I want them to cry when we're leaving. You know what I mean? And want more. And so that's the goal with the kiddos is have them just hopefully fall in love with it. Because there's two of them that makes me, if I can teach them how to row, even better. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's really what I need to do is teach them how to row a boat and get them to fall in love with rowing,
Yeah.
so I can throw them in the truck. Hey, we're going to the cabin, and who's rowing? Who's rowing Uncle Brian
Yeah.
down the river? So, um, dude, uh, I knew this was going to happen. I told you I'd try and keep you to 90 minutes because I could talk all day about fishing stuff, fishing stories, and your energy's killer. But man, thank you for coming on. How do we support you? Moving forward, I love what you're about. Um, Tell us where people can find you. Um, how do we support what you're doing and keep that ripple effect of what you're doing? How do we kind of be a positive influence on that?
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram and Facebook. Right now, I'm only sticking to one platform because I want to perfect the system before I move to the next one.
Yeah,
Um, and so it's just Levi Dunsey fly fishing. And I would say the best thing to support me is like take care of yourself.
yeah,
So for the, I know it sounds like such a cop out
I love it.
answer, but for the reason for that is strive to take care of yourself at least is because the next steps that I want to do with this whole thing, it involves people that are wanting to just better themselves. And I can't think of a better way to do it than what I want to set up here in the future. And it's coming quicker than I thought, boys. It's like right around the corner. So that's cool.
I
So
love it.
Hell yeah.
yeah.
I love it. So we'll find you on Facebook, Instagram. If you go to one, you have the other now. So that's cool.
Yep. Yep.
Um, cool, man. And then any place else so if we want to go on a trip with you, we hit you up via Instagram.
Yeah, you could hit me up on Instagram or
Cool.
so I work for most of the guide services here in Utah. So if you call one of them, odds are that I'm on their roster.
And just say, "Hey, I need to Levi for Thursday."
Yeah. Yeah. I want to go out with
Yeah.
Levi.
Half day, full day. And if we book you, do you decide, are we going to float? Are we going to walk wade? It's just up to, it's guide's choice, or do I request one or the other?
Either or. Either or. So
Yeah.
guide or you can request. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome, dude. You've been your aura is amazing. This is fun. I might try to fly fish this summer.
Well,
You
we'll
know,
give
you
you
brought me in.
I know a guy.
Yeah, but no, seriously, your time has been really fun and just keep crushing, man. It's just awesome to see you. So
Yeah,
Heck yeah.
absolutely.
Appreciate you,
Um,
boys.
Dude, you as well, man. Thanks for coming on, and thanks everybody that's listening, man. We just love you for listening. We love the family out there that hopefully took a lot from this on the RuckList podcast. RuckList got good things coming up. We just had a meeting today. The developers are doing well. I expect our official, in the App Store app done by, let's call it June or July. It is, the creep on those projects is big. I was looking back at pictures from when I was in Alaska 3 years ago, having my RuckList hat on, going, we'll be done this summer sometime. And here we are 2.5 years later with it. But it's exciting. And what we rolled out today is what we call, instead of influencers, Levi, we're calling it the mentors page. Because we really are trying to reshape that. It's not about how your influence is, but how you're mentoring people that are trying to get into this. Because our heart is really where your heart is with getting people out, adventure more, spend less, right? You don't need all that fancy gear. You don't need all that stuff. Get what's necessary and get out there and have fun. And so that's why we brought you on, because you embody that. You're serving, you're giving. I've loved watching your tips. I want to go fish a high mountain lake now. Um, and I have before, but I'm like, I want to get out there and kick around and go see what's up there. But I'm going to go to a dirty lake, because his advice was, don't go to pretty places to catch big fish. Go to ugly places, because hike more than what? Hike more than a mile and go to an ugly lake, and you're going to catch a nice fish, right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Well, you got to make sure it's stocked at some point too, because there's some dead lakes up high too that
Yeah.
I fished, and then you go look back and like, yeah, there's not a single thing that lives inside this pond.
If it's loaded with salamanders, don't even fish it.
okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
good point, because there's nothing else in there but salamanders, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, very cool. All right, Levi. Thanks again, man, and thank you guys for listening. We appreciate you. We love you tons, and we'll see you next week.
Ooh.